you are, and I've seen you progress. I've seen you go from what I would consider a kid, right?
Yeah.
And you were working as an assistant for some top performers, and we're going to talk about that today, what that progression was like, what you learned from them as your mentors, as your real estate and life mentors, and then just how that has progressed you in your professional career, but also the impact that maybe that they made on you from a personal perspective as well.
Huge.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it
Yeah.
from the beginning, 13 years almost. And
13 years. Wow.
it's been a long time to know you, and
Yeah.
I feel like I've known you from the beginning. You taught me a lot about the finance side of it. So it's been a mutual, to watch you and your journey as well. It's been wonderful.
And has that entire time for you, has it been at Gottesman the entire
The
time?
whole time. So I started, and stop me if you want me to.
Well, if you don't talk, like if it's not about me, then I will stop you at some point.
We like to keep it like
That's right. Yeah, keep it about PUD.
No, it's yes. I started with them, and just by happen wanted to make a change from where I was, and I was in marketing and design, and needed something different. Got married and thought, you know what, this is the time to make a change, and started there.
And so let's dive in on that, because you were, let's regress slightly, because you were in marketing and you were in New York, right?
So actually, no. So when I made the change, I was here in Austin.
Okay.
I worked for a place called Ranch Road.
Okay.
And worked for two great guys. And they took me on, and I was their client relations. And my background, I actually spent a little bit of time in New York, right around when I was a junior and senior in college, and was up there, and always thought I would end up there. Had a great internship, and then a job offer from it.
Yeah.
But I had this nice guy that who
he just got in the way.
He got in the way, and we had never lived in the same city.
Yeah.
So we thought, you know what, if we're really going to try to see if this works, then we will. And so I moved back and started working for the legislature, Ledge Council, and everything here, and kind of put my marketing and advertising, which is what I studied in college, on the back burner, and thought maybe I would become an attorney. And so I studied under the attorneys at the Ledge Council, and that wasn't for me. And then ended up starting to work for Ranch Road, and loved it, and did that for years. And then just needed a change. It was, I felt a little stagnant, and nothing. I think it was just more of a personal thing. I just wanted something different. My dad is a real estate attorney, so I was always interested in that, but didn't really know what I wanted, and then thought, well, I want to work for the best. And a girlfriend actually put me in touch with Elaine, who ended up hiring me at Gottesman. So was
that Elaine Benton?
Benton.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you first got started at Gottesman.
Yeah.
And for our audience that doesn't know anything about Gottesman, right? Share a little bit, because they're one of the absolute best boutique agencies in all of Austin. I tell people, I've told them this years ago, and it's like the A-team.
Yeah.
Like when y'all pull up, there's like a black van, the sliding door slides open, and then all these amazing agents just pile out, right?
It is.
Taking no prisoners.
Well, and so we just celebrated 20 years, and I feel really honored to be a part of that group. So Gottesman has always been a name. So I was born and raised here.
Yep.
So I've always known about the Gottesmans, and they're involved, in real estate and everything.
Are deep in real estate, whether it's residential or commercial.
Yeah. And my husband grew up with one of them, and so it was just always around, and you'd see their signs around and things like that. And I always just knew that if I was going to do something, I want to learn and do it with the best. I don't want to kind of dive in and just kind of halfway do something. And you know me, that's not my personality. Very type A and
type A, capital letter, bold print, underline.
Yes. And so if you're going to do something, do it well.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend the time, learn from the best. And I feel very blessed in that I was able to get a foundation from the best. I mean, I came in, I learned from day one. I mean, everything I knew. I got licensed there. Everything I know about how to deal with clients, how to, deal with situations, contractual. Also building the relationships, with your finance side, with your lenders, with your title companies, and everything Laura tells us is to.
And Laura's Gottesman.
Laura Gottesman. Mm-hmm. So everything that she tells us is, it's all about not just you and giving the service to your clients, but it's also about who you surround yourself with.
Would you consider her having been a like a mentor to some degree for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. She really wants to nourish the people that she has in her company. Mm-hmm. We are not a big group. Yeah. And she's never wanted to be these huge groups that you hear about, and not that, there's anything wrong with that. Right. She
wants to be boutique.
She wants to be boutique. Yeah. She wants to be intimate. We consider each other family. And what we always say is you get one of us, you get all of us. But it's true. If one of us is not available, or when I had all of my children, everyone stepped in and
you
helped
say that like
each other.
You have like 8 or 9 kids, right?
Well, 3 is a lot.
3 is a lot. That's right.
But it's or when there's ever been anything that anyone needs help with. Yeah. Hey, I'm out of town. Of course, that's when everything hits. When you go out of town, everyone needs something. When you're in town, no one needs anything.
If you're slow, just go out of town. Yeah. Your business will pick up immediately.
It'll pick up right away. Just kidding. I'm coming back. So it's. I think when you get that, you feel this sense of part of being something that's amazing. Yeah, and that is something that I feel like I've never questioned. People have always asked. There was a movement of agents, brokerage that came into town, and there were people who moved around and shuffle and things like that. And people were like, "Are you?" And I said, "It's never even crossed my mind. Yeah. That was just never something I wanted." Yep. I feel that with where we are and who we surround ourselves, and we are able to every Tuesday we have our company meetings. No one is allowed in those except for people who are part of Gottesman. Mm-hmm. We have guest speakers and, we have lenders come in and talk to us about, economic forecasts or rates and things like that. Or we have attorneys come and talk to us about changes. Guests. Yeah, special guests. But realistically, Laura really keeps those closed. And they can only come for after we've talked and roundtabled, which I think is so unique because we are able to say, hey, this situation happened. Mm-hmm. Would you handle it, or how do I handle this, or what would you do, or I have this difficult listing. I don't know, why we're not getting traffic. Mm-hmm. I think our price is right. What would you do? Mm-hmm. Where's the market at? And that I feel like is such a tool that you don't get when you have a huge corporate company. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's something I really value there.
Well, It's interesting that you mentioned that, because when there was that transition and some of the other agents chose to go elsewhere, you were all supportive of it. It's like, hey, we hate losing you. You're part of the family. You always will be. But funny enough, Megan Gaddis, who's both of our dear friends, and I know she's one of your mentors as well. Yes. I asked her. I said, hey, why did you decide to stay? She goes, I'm just a Gottesman girl through and through. Yeah. She goes, that's who I am.
I think once you're part of the group and once you're part of the family, you don't want to leave. Yeah. We work really hard, but we also have a lot of fun, and we are business, and we take what we do very seriously. And that's something I also value. I think when I got into the business, people were like, oh, you could be a real estate agent, be flexible. And, it's kind of what these new shows, which I prefer not to watch, but you see these shows and they kind of glamorize it but that's not what we are. I mean, yes, we have beautiful listings and we have great clients but that's not reality. Laura really wants us, if you're going to do this, you're in this.
It's
and you're in the
combat.
trenches.
It really is.
It really is. And I think that's so great. And being there for as long as I've been there and starting from the bottom and moving up has taught me that, I know how we work. I know who we are through and through. I know the people that come in, as far as who is coming back onto the team, as an assistant or in our staff or as another agent. And so I know that that's all quality. Everyone has this integrity. And I think, when you start to get these huge companies, that gets a little diluted.
It does.
It's hard to manage. Maybe, yes, you work this way, but is that really the quality? Is everyone doing it the same way? And we're held to a different standard. Laura holds us to a very high standard.
I think you nailed it, right? So the standard in which, and really, it seems like we're promoting Gottesman. Anybody who's amazing out there with high integrity that's in Austin that produces at the highest level, you know where to go.
But there are wonderful agents that I do a lot of business with that aren't at Gottesman. And so I'm not putting that down.
You love who you work.
I just love who I work for.
And that has always resonated with me. Again, that goes back to part of the reason why you're on the show, because you're very passionate about what you do. And I want our audience and our friends to understand those dynamics, because especially in the current environment, right? Yeah. Whether it's on the real estate side or the lending side, this is uncharted territory in a lot of ways. Sure, we can go back and look at what happened in 2008 and 2009, with that crisis.
Yeah.
But really with the economic uncertainty and especially the price points in which you and I work, it's been an interesting ride, to say the least.
We were recently just talking about this and a round table, and because of the price points that we deal with. And I feel that when clients come to us, and same thing, and we've talked about this, when they come to you, they want answers, they expect us to have the knowledge of, what's going on in a pulse.
Yep.
But what I'm seeing, everyone's like, oh, the rate. I think too, we do deal with a lot of cash buyers, but it still affects them.
Absolutely.
But we're seeing more, and I can only speak to Austin market, I see what's across, the nation, but Austin's such a bubble.
It is.
Yes, there's been some leveling out. Yes, we are seeing things a little bit slower to what maybe, we've seen in the past 18 months, 2 years. That was insanity.
That was insane.
I think I never worked so hard in my entire life.
Y'all were working hard. You're like, okay, there are only 7 offers on this one.
It was to the point of spreadsheets and to present offers. That's how we had to break it down for our sellers, because there were so many, and it was insane.